Hello guys, welcome back again to my channel, Dami Dimension. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make an off-shoulder sleeve, and I have with me here my pattern paper folded in half. Get yourself a wide enough pattern paper and fold it in half just like this, and we are going to be getting started right away. Alright, so I'm going to be starting by drawing a random horizontal line here. Right, this line is going to serve as my starting point and also my shoulder line, so let's just call it shoulder line right now. Okay, so then I'm going to be taking the length of my sleeve. So determine how long you want your sleeve to be, and you take the measurement from here down to your wrist or your elbow or wherever you want it to stop. It could be as short as your bicep. For me, I'm using a 22 inches I'm making the 22 inches long sleeve right now. Okay, now that I have the point of my sleeve marked, I will connect that to form another straight horizontal line. Now this line is my wrist line because I'm making a long sleeve, or you can call it your sleeve length. So the next horizontal line I'm going to draw is going to be a cap's height, and there is a way to calculate the cap's height. I have a video already on basic sleeve pattern. Actually, I have two videos on basic sleeve pattern. Go and watch that. I'm going to quickly brush through how you get your cap's height so you basically understand everything in this video. Alright, so cap's height is your bust circumference divided by 12, then plus half. So let's say you're working with 36 as your bust circumference, you will divide it by 12. Whatever you get, you are going to be adding half to that. So this calculation gives me 3.5 in my case. Okay, because 36 divided by 12 gives me 3, and when I add half to 3 it gives me 3.5. so that's what I'm going to be using as my cap's height in this case. Alright, so I bring back my paper and I'm going to be placing my cap's height, which was 3.25 from what we just calculated. I'm going to be placing it right here. I'll also mark it here. Alright, and then I'll connect that into another straight horizontal line, and that is my cap's height. Now, as I said earlier, I have two videos on basic sleeve and they are quite different from each other, although both of them can work for your garment depending on what look you want to achieve. The first video, which is the oldest video, basically using that oldest video method in this off-shoulder sleeve that we are making, and that's because it just looks better to me personally. For the second sleeve video that I have on my channel, I call it the updated basic sleeve. It's a kind of simpler way of drafting a basic sleeve, so you don't have to go through any calculation at all, and it kind of gives a taller cap's height, or bicep line in that case. It kind of gives a taller cap's height, and that looks better on garments like a blazer, jackets and stuff like that. So whenever I want to make like blazer jackets, I just use that updated sleeve version, and when I want to make like a simple blouse or maybe an off-shoulder like this, then I use the first method of it. So you can just watch both of those videos and see the difference and know what I'm talking about, and just see which one works for you. Alright, so we are going to be continuing. Alright, another optional line that you can draw is your elbow line. You may or may not draw it. Actually, sometimes I don't draw it, but just so you guys know that of course you can draw your elbow line as well, I'm going to be drawing my elbow line. So you need to take your shoulder, from your shoulder to the elbow, and the one I'm working with measures 12 inches. Okay, I'll connect that as well. This is the elbow line. I'm going to be showing you the reason why I said you may not have to draw your elbow line as we proceed. Okay, so now I'm going to be transferring my horizontal measurement, and first I'm starting with my wrist circumference. So just take the wrist. I recommend you don't make it super tight, because then it's going to be hard for the sleeve to come out of there. So usually around 9 should work for an average woman. So if you want it to be wider, you can make it 10 or something, but I'm going to be using 9.5 as my wrist circumference. So you are going to be dividing that 9.5 into 2. Okay, so when you divide 9.5 into 2, you get 4.75. so I'm going to be marking the 4.75 on my sleeve length. But let's say you are not making a long sleeve like me, let's say you're making a short sleeve, or short sleeve that stops at your elbow, so you're going to be taking your elbow circumference instead. And then you should make sure it's just go and watch my how to measure. I have a video on that, because there's a proper way for you to take all these measurements so that your garment comes out nice. So go and watch my video on how to take full body measurement. All right, so next I'm going to be doing my elbow circumference. So take your elbow circumference, divide it by 2, and the reason why we are dividing by 2 is because our paper is folded into 2, of course. So I'll divide it into 2 and I'll place it here. I'm working with elbow circumference of 13. I'll mark it half of it here. Next, I'm going to my caps height line. So on this caps height line, you are going to be placing your armhole circumference divided by 2. I'm working with armhole circumference of 18. When I divide that by 2, I'm going to be having 9. So I'll place 9 inches right here. So for this part, for my shoulder line, and this is the part that is going to be connecting to your neckline. So for the calculation here, you need 2 measurements. The first measurement you need is your round shoulder. So this is how you are going to be taking the round shoulder. You take your round shoulder measurement this way. Whatever you get, note it down, and then you need your round chest as well, or upper bust. So you take your round upper bust. You see it goes here above my bust. So you write this down as well. So you are going to be subtracting these two from each other. So it's going to be your round shoulder minus upper bust, or let's say round bust. So let's say your round shoulder equals 40 inches. All right, and your round bust equals 32, so minus 32, and this is going to give us 32, and this is going to give us 8, right? Then this 8, you are going to be adding 1 inch to it. All right, and that's going to give us 9, right? You're adding 1 inch to it and dividing by 2. So that's going to be 9/2, and this is 4.5, right? So this is what you are going to be using. I hope that is straightforward enough. The circumference of your shoulder minus the circumference of your upper bust. All right, you add 1 to it and you divide everything by 2. Whatever you get is what you are going to be using there. So I got 4.5. I'm going to be measuring the 4.5 here, just like that. And then I'm going to be connecting these 2 points together with a curve, and that is going to be my armhole curve. All right, and then we join this point together as well. And before we move on, I'm just going to quickly talk about the sponsor of today's video. Today's video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning platform where millions of creative minds like you and me come together to learn new things on different topics to become more creative. There are thousands of lessons on Skillshare, topics that covers illustration, fashion design, photography, or whether you want to learn video editing, video making, art, graphic design, or maybe you want to learn about YouTube, how to start your own YouTube channel and be successful. There are lessons on how to grow on Instagram, how to grow on social media. There are lessons on marketing, craft, productivity. Did I just say marketing? I'm sure that is communicating to someone already. This was actually what captivated me on Skillshare. I was taking a particular lesson by Gary. And guys, that lesson literally took me back to my drawing table, because I was able to get valuable tips that can help me to grow my online business despite the competition that is going on today. You can apply the knowledge in your fashion business as well. What makes this difference is the fact that it's focused solely on learning. That means there are not going to be ads bothering you. Despite the numerous things you can learn on Skillshare, it is affordable. And guess what, guys? The first 1,000 people to use the link in the description box is going to get 1 month free trial to Skillshare. If I were you, I won't let this opportunity pass me by. So head on to the description box and grab yourself the free trial opportunity. Alright, so now I'm going to be explaining the reason why I said you don't necessarily have to draw out your elbow line all the time. Of course, in some cases you have to. In cases whereby you are drafting fitted sleeves, like for a shirt or for a bodycon, something like that, then you have to put out your elbow line so that the shape truly comes out, because you see this is not straight. There is a bit of depth in here on the elbow line. But in this case, I'm going to be developing this sleeve a bit further, so I don't really need this elbow. I just wanted to show you that was why I drew out the line. I could have just connected this point all the way down here, because this is going to be a balloon sleeve. I'm still going to enlarge this sleeve some more. So that's just a point for you guys to note. I'm going to be adding my seam allowances around it. I'm going to be adding, you can use whatever seam allowance you want, whatever works for you. 1/2 inch all around works, or more, just do you. So after adding my allowances all around, I have this, and then I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out. So this is what the finished sleeve looks like, and when you open it up, you have your complete off-shoulder sleeve. So this concludes how to draft an off-shoulder sleeve pattern. I'm going to be modifying this pattern a little bit just to suit the style of this top. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is optional. I wonder why I'm starting with the optional part, but let's just roll, guys. So, and that is for this shoulder part, which is completely straight right here. You can use it this way, but I just want it to be a little bit curvy. And if you remember, I had that drop on here on my back neckline, so I'm going to be maintaining that same drop. So then I come down from this red line, come down by 1/2 inch, okay, and then I'll connect it back to this point right here, just like that. So that means our seam allowance is going to drop down as well by the same 1/2 inch, just like that, just to bring down my 1/2 inch seam allowance as well. So then this little portion right here goes away. The next modification is going to be the spread, of course, because we are working with a voluminous, slightly voluminous sleeve. Okay, so I open up my sleeve this way, and you can see that we have a center line that forms a crease right here. So I'm going to be slashing it open. Okay, so I'll grab myself a fresh pattern paper. I'm going to be aligning the edge of the sleeves, so I'm just going to tape this down, and I will tape this down. So I'm spreading the sleeves apart by 8 inches. This is my choice. You can make yours 7 if you don't want so much volume. If you want even more volume, you can make it 9 or even more than that. So once that has been taped down, I'm just going to connect the edge of my sleeve here to the edge of the second sleeve here, so that I can have a smooth. And down here, I'm going to be using my ruler to connect the edge of my hemline to the edge of the hemline on the second sleeve, so that I can have a straight extra paper as well. Then I'm just going to cut off the little excess. Then yeah, this is the sleeve. We are done. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be using this pattern in making a blouse. There is going to be the video on the channel as well, so make sure not to miss that. And I may post the link of it at the end of this video in the description box if the video is already out. If it's not, just search for Dami Dimension off shoulder crop top or off shoulder wrap top in YouTube, and then you find it. All right, bye bye.